Concerning our program, it's true we're not focusing on therapeutic areas specifically. I mean, it's more a global program. On the other hand, I think we will take examples within these different modules that can be on cancer. Having done safety all my life, I understand your point of view, and I think it can be a good point of view to have something specialized in therapeutic disease area. But for the moment, we haven't thought that much. I can bring it back to the consortium, I mean, if that's something you're thinking about, but for the moment, we are not focusing on disease area.
Thank you very much for your comment, and I think to add on to Mike and Deborah, we are concerned in EMTRAIN about the different disease biologies and therapeutic areas. So we do have an element in our integrated drug development course to talk about the specifics of the development of oncology drugs. And by the way, your organization is also a full partner in our program. But it's not only oncology, it's of course all kinds of biologicals, biosimilar issues, it's infectious disease as an entity, it's the big diseases like cardiovascular, neurobiology, metabolic disease, which is an equal important therapeutic area. I think this is being dealt with against the background, very much in line with you, the generics of the drug development process. And what's really missing, particularly in the field of oncology, is the integrated oncology drug developer. People who really understand the process from molecule to marketplace. And that's what we try to foster with some of these programs. And actually also by the similarities in the programs, I think we slowly but surely talk along the same lines to achieve an integrated concept of drug development, including, I guess, for the safety aspects that we will learn about in a minute.
Thank you for the reply. Very interesting comments. My question was also a technical question. In several countries at the European level, the training for oncologists is made in cancer institutes. It's a technical problem. They provide specialization. They have PhD. They have masters, and this is a, how can I say, a resource that you can utilize. This is mainly the problem. It's not the universities, it's not the academy able to, for example, in Italy, for example, in Budapest, there is a survey, I will provide you some, but you already know, of course, those data. Just supporting the idea that the best way to form oncologists is within specialized cancer institutes. And perhaps this is the peculiarity with respect to the other diseases. You know, while there is a network for cancer institutes all over Europe, as well in Asia, as well in the United States, it's not the same, for example, for cardiovascular, for diabetes, or it's not, does not have the same size of development of the network. So please, my question is, please utilize this know-how and this expertise.
Oh, thank you. It's a good point. I think we do recognise that the cancer centres do provide something which isn't available from some of the other education institutes or some of the more traditional groups.
Perhaps if I may add to that, you know, these courses are not about the specialization in one particular therapeutic area. We count on having specialists in therapeutic areas, and we do have them. But we need to build bridges that those specialists actually can bring their knowledge into the drug development. And that's what we try to do. Actually, we do have the specialists. We need them trained from practice. But now, how do we access that knowledge in terms of drug development?
I think we should take up this ball because it's an excellent suggestion. And the ideal solution of it all would be that via your entry door, that we provide now as IMI trainers a program with you that is tailor-made to oncology. I think something like this could be a very powerful tool to train up the oncology people. We have piloted this in 1 or 2 disease areas. That is possible, and the teaching efficiency is much greater if one talks, you know, from oncologist to oncologist, basically. We can't talk about this. There's no budget in IMI for TR.
Thank you. As you know, there are 3 topics on oncology in the second call, so they are now working on the preparation of the full project proposal. And that doesn't exclude that there will be a part of education and training in this project. And at some point, MEGU will have to work with you to see how we can integrate this in the program in general. So I have a question for you. It might be a bit naive, but how are you going to measure the impact of the program in education and training here? I mean, for the other course, we know that there will be a certain numbers of students following the course. It will be 300 or whatever. At the end, we have some figures there. For a project like this, it's a bit more difficult, I think, to assess. So this is my question.
Okay. I think 2 answers. They're very different answers. As I pointed out, one of the things that we're really trying to change is this infrastructure for research in Europe, so that the ultimate measure, which is probably the hardest and the longest, would be, are we actually having an impact? Are the education and training programs of such a quality that we're keeping people within Europe, we're attracting the best scientists from other parts of the world to come and work in Europe, and indeed we're supporting the research and drug development in Europe to produce the new medicines. So that's the long-term one, because that's why we're doing it in the first place. The measures that we have in place are almost like biomarkers. They're saying, are we doing the right sorts of things at the moment to move in the direction to say that we're actually going to be successful? So the sorts of things I'd mention are we providing something to use all of the expertise in Europe? So are we providing this pan-European support? That would be one element. It would be, are we actually rising to this challenge of saying that the needs are different in terms of people's competencies and education and training? And that's where this combination of the course catalogue, access to information comes in, and whether people are truly building these portfolios of experience. And some of that would come from the feedback from the individuals or from their employers or from the other scientific communities who say, we are filling the gaps that we identified in the strategic research agenda, and we now have people with the right skill sets to be able to address the new science and to bring around the innovation. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the new medicines, but that's a stepping stone on the way. So I think those 2 are going to be some of the critical components of making sure that we filled the gaps. And if there are still gaps that we haven't filled, and that's part of the process, we identify those and then try and introduce whatever new training programs or new IMI calls to make sure that those new gaps, those emerging sciences, are also incorporated. So the short answer is we filled the gaps that we said we had, and the long answer is we actually have done some to change the landscape in Europe and improve research. But I'm sure we're going to be talking about this on a regular basis, Mattia.